Okay, now I'm starting to tweak the value a little bit, looking for areas that are a little bit darker, starting to blend them out. And then finding areas that maybe need to be erased or clarified in some way. So I'm kind of drawing with my ruler or with my eraser just as much as I am my pencil, the pencil tip. So right now I'm trying to look really closely at that highlight that is on the edge of the water. And I'm trying to put in a few of the darks. And I'm looking at where those darks relate to the glass and the edge that I've already put in. Just trying to get them close to the right spot. And then I'm going to start drawing with my eraser and putting the light in and around those pieces. Once I get them to where I want them, I'm going to start building light. I notice that there's a little bit of light popping in on the glass. So I draw that with my eraser first, and then I'm going to put the darks in and around it. So you can do it either way. You can put a few dark spots in and then build light around it, or you can put the light in and build the darks around it. It just depends on the section and which way you want to work. Sometimes you have to try it a couple of different ways before you can kind of figure out how to do it. And I'm rubbing it in a little bit with my finger just because it was a little too extreme. Probably should have used a blending stump, but I was on a roll. So right now I'm noticing there's some shading up in this top edge that kind of fades out. Start to build that up. I'll push it darker later. I want to move from like a gray tone to darker in the sections that have to be darker. I want to move that way very slowly because that's where kind of it starts to look more real if you can go slow. If you make things jump to dark too quick, they look a little cartoony. So we're trying to draw a realistic picture here. Here I'm starting to look for little lights that maybe I missed. I blended it in with a blending stump, and now I can kind of erase in. Again, it's constant adjustment, constant tweaking. I make more wrong lines than I do right, and that's okay, because then I just will erase and tweak again. So I'm noticing that edge is a little bit more harsh. It's all about, you're talking about edges, like what kind of edge is this? Versus like, is this edge a subtle edge that's maybe a lost edge? Like that one right there is subtle. Or is it more of a crisp edge, like some edges on the outer part of the glass? So here I notice that there's some highlights in here. I'm building the light in first, and then I can shade away from those later. I'm gonna dive into this side of the glass, start to build that shade out a little bit. I'll have to adjust it later. It looks like it's a little dark. So right here is about the point where my head gets in the way. So a section of this video is going to get cut out, and you're going to kind of have to figure out that part on your own. But I'm going to pause it so you can catch up to me. So right now I'm building that up, and I'm going to start building it with my eraser too. I'm starting to find those highlights that were on the opposite side here in the water. So I'm looking for those highlights, and I'm going to build from those here in a minute. Just looking for areas that are a little bit darker or lighter. Just keep adjusting and go slowly, because if you go too fast, it looks again a little bit too cartoony and too simple. There's an artist she is actually a junior this year, and her name's Jazzy, and it takes her a really, really, really long time to do a drawing, and it's because she gets real nitpicky. She doesn't get nitpicky at the beginning. She does that in the middle and starts to tighten down as she draws, which usually makes a good artist. So here I'm starting to put in the big gray value that I'm going to build all those highlights and reflections in. And I sped up the video a little bit here, so don't go that fast. I just didn't want to waste your drawing time. I wanted to make sure that you knew where to put the value, and you'd be able to do that. It's kind of the same way that we put the value in for the top part of the cup and the outer edge. Still using the side of my pencil.